Good evening. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and tonight we're going to take a look at colder times ahead. It took a little bit longer than anticipated for the warmer summer type temperatures to finally end, and now we're actually looking at a colder pattern ahead. And there's going to be some pretty strong cold fronts coming up in the next 7 to 10 days that are going to cross through southeast Virginia and the east coast, the Mid-Atlantic region as a whole. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're expecting in the forecast. I just wanted to mention that all images are courtesy of Unisys Weather on the left. The 30,000 foot, 300 millibar chart on each of the slides is courtesy of Unisys Weather. And then also Tropical Tidbits on the right-hand side, a great website for you to go check out all the different numerical model data that you see most of the TV meteorologists using. So thanks to both of those particular websites for these graphics. All right, so starting things off, the forecast for tomorrow, the 18th of October, 2018. And the image again on the left, each of these slides tonight, I'm going to show you an image on the left and then the image on the right. The image of the left is a 300 millibar weather chart, or the jet stream winds at about 30,000 feet above the ground. This is a very important chart because what we're looking for are areas of higher wind speeds, which are indicated in the yellow colors. Sometimes you'll even see some oranger colors within the main jet core axis. And these troughs and ridges at 30,000 feet, they are responsible for producing colder areas, below normal temperature areas, as well as above normal or warmer areas underneath the ridges at 30,000 feet. So I tend to really like to show, especially now since we're getting into the midterm, the middle part of October, just beyond that, we're really going to be looking at the upper level troughs and ridges at 30,000 feet to determine the weather pattern ultimately, especially with temperatures, and whether the pattern is setting up for a really good storm to develop. The image on the right shows the surface chart. It's actually known as a thickness chart, and each of the dashed lines indicate areas of thickness values. With the lower the thickness values, the colder the surface temperatures will be. And then you have green areas on the image on the right, which indicate areas of rainfall. If you see blue areas there on the chart on the right, that indicates areas of snowfall. So we have rain and snow. We have surface pressure features as well. The blue H's represent high pressure systems at the surface. And then you have the red L's. We really don't see one on this particular image on the right, but that represents areas of lower pressure or storm systems. So we're going to go ahead and look at tomorrow's forecast. Now, tomorrow for southeast Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic as a whole, it's going to be pretty chilly. We have a surface cold front that's moving through the area this evening, overnight, and by morning you are going to wake up to some fairly strong northerly winds blowing. We can see winds anywhere between 15 and 25 miles per hour tomorrow morning. It's a true sign of the fall season and the approaching winter when you get strong cold fronts to move off the Mid-Atlantic coast, and those winds shift around to the northwest or to anywhere from the northwest actually to the north. Typically you get stronger what we call cold air surges. So with the jet stream on the left-hand image there, we're showing a dip or a trough, a U-shaped pattern over the eastern United States. And that perpendicular wind component is going to allow a stronger cold front to pass through the Mid-Atlantic region in southeast Virginia overnight here on Wednesday night, the 17th of October, into the early morning hours of Thursday, the 18th of October. There is a 1,036 millibar high pressure system tomorrow situated over central Illinois. On the front side of surface high pressure systems in the northern hemisphere, the winds generally tend to blow clockwise. So we have plenty of colder air advection, or colder air moving into our area for tomorrow on strong northerly winds. Again, when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to feel that when you go out and about. Temperatures tomorrow are only expected to reach about 58 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit for a high. So that's a maximum temperature we can expect. So be sure you take a light coat if you're out and about tomorrow. Moving ahead now to Friday, the 19th of October. We're already coming up on another weekend. A lot of folks have a lot of fall activities planned outdoors this time of year, especially with Halloween right around the corner. Look at the image on the left there. That deep upper level trough from Thursday, it kind of flattens out and becomes more west to east. So we have a jet stream generally blowing from the Midwestern United States due east, west to east, more zonal from Illinois over to Pennsylvania and off the East Coast. So we can expect on Friday is still continued chilly, however slightly warmer than Thursday. High temperatures in the lower to middle 60s on Friday to round out your work week. There is the 1,000, at this time it's 1,032 millibar high pressure system that has moved into western Virginia by Friday. It will continue to produce dry weather, no chance of precipitation for the area on Friday. Moving into the weekend. Now things change a little bit more on the weekend on Saturday the 20th of October. Look at the image on the left, the jet stream, another big dip in the jet stream. This is really going to allow a cold front to push through southeast Virginia once more, especially later in the day on Saturday in the evening hours. We do have an area of moisture or rainfall that extends out ahead and along that strong cold front, generally from Virginia down into Tennessee, into Arkansas, into northeast Texas. We have much lower thickness values, generally coming south from eastern Canada, which indicates colder air is going to start pouring in to the eastern United States on Saturday, October 20th. By this point in time, the coldest air is into the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, into northern Illinois. Not quite very cold yet we won't really feel the colder temperatures yet in southeast Virginia until we'll really start feeling those on Sunday. So moving on into Sunday, we have some rain showers that pass through southeast Virginia on Saturday, especially into, we're looking at the evening hours. Saturday, we may have some scattered showers pushing through the area. So your overall outdoor plans for Saturday don't look too bad. Now looking at Sunday, that cold front moves off the coast. The strong cold front moves off. You got a 1,034 millibar high pressure system situated over northern Missouri by Sunday. We still have a lot of strong cold air pushing into the area from the north. So we can expect a very stiff northerly breeze to be blowing into southeast Virginia on Sunday. Again, the cold front is offshore, so we don't expect any rain. We do expect the area to remain fairly dry for Sunday, just really chilly with a strong northerly wind. Once again, could be winds on the order of 15 to 25 gusts to 30 miles per hour on Sunday. All right, so that sets things up now for Monday, the 22nd of October. We generally have an upper level ridge over western Canada, and we have another trough into the upper Midwest, into Michigan. We do have a surface high pressure system at 1031 millibar high pressure system situated over western North Carolina, around the Asheville, North Carolina area. So we do expect lighter winds, very windy and chilly on Sunday, but then we have a lighter wind pattern setting up for Monday as a high pressure moves nearly overhead the mid-Atlantic. We can expect some very cold temperatures overnight, Sunday night into Monday, most likely to be in the 30s overnight. There may need to be frost and freeze advisories issued, especially away from the water into western Virginia at that point in time. Moving on now to Tuesday the 23rd of October. What we're looking at is a trough, upper level trough at 30,000 feet situated over the New England states. We do have another trough now replacing the ridge into the western Canada. At the surface for southeast Virginia, we're expecting seasonable temperatures by Tuesday the 23rd. The area of high pressure that was nearly overhead on Monday is going to slide off the coast by that point in time. So the winds will come around eventually to the south. They will be fairly light though, a very weak pressure gradient by Tuesday the 23rd. Now moving into Wednesday the 24th of October, we have another area, another cold front that is attempting to push through the Mid-Atlantic region in southeast Virginia. We have a strong 1034 millibar high situated just north of Lake Huron at that point in time. So we got a northerly wind component once again as another front will move through the area Tuesday night into Wednesday morning across southeast Virginia. Most of the moisture remains to our south, so looking like another dry day on Wednesday the 24th of October. Moving ahead now to Thursday the 25th of October, that 1,034 millibar high moves down into eastern Pennsylvania, starts weakening slightly down to 1031 millibars by Thursday the 25th. We're expecting more of a northeasterly wind to clockwise flow around that high by Thursday the 25th of October. So that will keep things fairly seasonable with high temperatures in the 60s, just maybe slightly below normal. Normal high this time of year being about 70 degrees. And things start shaping up now to become more interesting. By Friday the 26th of October, we do have a new bit of energy there. If you look at that image on the left, you see the yellow colors there. That indicates very strong jet stream winds are starting to move into the west side of this upper level trough. And whenever that happens, you tend to get these troughs that deepen out, and those deepening troughs generally tend to lead to storm development on their eastern side. The image on the right is showing an area of lower surface pressure developing off the coast of South Carolina by next Friday, the 26th of October. With a lot of rainfall associated around it, starting to move into southeast Virginia by that point in time, into North Carolina, as well as into Georgia and into northern Florida. Now, I'm going to show you what happens even beyond Friday the 26th of October, and this is very intriguing. We could have a big storm on the horizon somewhere between the 26th and 27th of October. If you look at the images on the left and right, I'm showing you a rapidly deepening or strengthening low pressure system off the Carolina coast. It's down to 990 millibars by this point in time. Now, we still have relatively warmer waters down off the southeast coast. So the question would be now, is this thing going to become, start off as a tropical system and then come up the coast, possibly turn into an extratropical system or a very strong, intense nor'easter? This is a possibility this time of year. We can get what's known as a hybrid system to develop, where it starts off as a tropical system with completely tropical characteristics, and this, as it moves northeast along the east coast into cooler waters, it transitions into more of a mid-latitude cyclone or extratropical storm. So the image on the left, this is next. This would be next Friday night overnight, showing an area of heavier precipitation spinning in around that low pressure system into southeast Virginia. And then the image on the right shows the area of low pressure deepening or strengthening further, even down further to 975 millibars just east of the Virginia coastline. And that is early morning next Saturday, the 27th of October. So in this case, that's a lot of wind and that's a lot of rain if this were to hold true. So this is something we've got to keep an eye on about a possibility of a big storm, generally between 26 and 27 October, somewhere in that time period. And then it continues up the coast here. I'm showing you the image. It continues up the coast into just off the coast of New Jersey by basically the early afternoon hours of October 27th, next Saturday, next weekend. Okay. And beyond that storm system, things get really interesting because it just seems like there's one push after another of colder temperatures as the dips in the polar front jet stream become more prominent, and as well as you're getting much colder and lowering thickness values to come into the eastern United States. So I'm showing you images here. The map on the left shows October 30th. The map on the right actually shows Halloween. Okay, so if this were to hold true, and this is a long ways out, but if this were to hold true, it could be a rather chilly Halloween across southeast Virginia this year. Fairly dry, but very chilly. So we just got to keep an eye on things. You see that area of lower pressure situated over Hudson Bay, Canada. That will generally result in just reinforcing shots of cooler air on its backside. That circulation around that low pressure system being counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. So just something to keep an eye on for sure in the long range. So here are my final thoughts for tonight's video. We're looking overall like a colder pattern over the next 7 to 10 days. Now, there will be some, a day or two in which the temperatures will rebound into the 60s for highs, but then that'll be quickly replaced by reinforcing stronger cold fronts approaching from the northwest, in addition to the upper level trough type pattern in the jet stream, which is going to allow cold air to funnel into its base into the eastern United States, including southeast Virginia. So something we've got to keep an eye on, definitely looking like a colder pattern overall over the next 7 to 10 days with reinforcing shots of colder air. Now, the big cool downs right now, the way things look, are expected on Thursday, October 18th, that's tomorrow, and then once again Sunday, October 21st into Monday the 22nd. As the jet stream dips down into the eastern United States, we've got that deep trough forming. with high temperatures expected into the upper 50s for Southeast Virginia most likely, and low temperatures into the upper 30s overnight. So it's getting that time of year where the sun, the daylight is getting less and less, the solar angle or the sun angle is getting weaker. So it's really adding up to that time of year. We're going to get these cooler and cooler periods, cooler and cooler temperatures. All right, and that big East Coast winter storm, or I should say winter storm, the big East Coast storm is possible between 25 and 27 October with lots of precipitation and wind. Again, this is pretty far out in time right now, being that we are sitting around the 17th of October now. So we're still a good 7 to 8 days out. But most of the weather models are showing some form of a East Coast storm. The European, I was looking at that before this presentation, showing it a little bit earlier than the GFS. The GFS is a little bit slower with it, European much quicker with it, and even the Canadian model is showing some sort of cyclone developing off the southeast coast. And again, here's the big thing right now this time of year. It may start off as a tropical system with completely warm core characteristics, but it may eventually transition as it moves up the coast into cooler water. Those tropical systems, they extract or take heat from the underlying ocean surface. So as they move northeast, especially this time of the year, into cooler waters, they generally tend to transition into extratropical cyclones, especially if we have the correct dynamics with a shortwave trough coming in from the west, a deepening long wave trough at 30,000 feet. So one thing I want to add here to end this is the seasonal forecast update. We at Spot On Weather, I appreciate all the views. I mean, I think we've hit over 1,000 views for our winter forecast this year, and that is awesome, and I really appreciate your views. But I just wanted to kind of throw in here something new, a new update for the seasonal forecast for the winter. The European model is usually very, very superior in regards to seasonal forecasting, more longer range as compared to the American GFS. It's also more accurate in the placement of the troughs and the long wave troughs and the ridges, those dips in the jet stream. So the European model is currently calling for a colder than normal winter with above average snowfall across the mid-Atlantic with that weak El Nino we're expecting. And I detailed that in my video on the winter forecast. But anyway, I find that real interesting. The European model is expecting that same thing that we're thinking here at Spot On Weather, a colder than normal winter with above average snowfall. And I'll tell you what, these longer range models I'm looking at now are really starting to take on more of an early winter type pattern with fairly significant troughs in the jet stream over the eastern United States and fairly strong cold fronts. So if this is a sign of things to come, it is going to be a very cold winter for our area in Southeast Virginia this year. All right, that wraps things up tonight on Spot On Weather. Remember, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate all of your support for Spot On Weather, and I wish everybody a pleasant Wednesday evening. Bundle up tomorrow on Thursday. It's going to be a very chilly day. Again, another cold shot coming in late in the weekend. A little bit of rain shower activity again for your weekend on Saturday. But that will not be an all-day rain event, so your outdoor activities during the day should still be in fairly good shape. That wraps things up at Spot On Weather. Remember, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Take care and have a good night, everybody.